And 2025 was also defined by the many prominent retirement announcements for Congress. One of the biggest names, of course, top Democrat and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and she is not going out quietly. She made this bold prediction ahead of the 2026 midterms.
So if the Democrats win the House back?
Yeah, no, when? When the Democrats win the House back, then we will. I'm busy and focused on winning the House for the Democrats, making Hakeem Jeffrey the Speaker of the House, and to take us to a better place.
A lot to talk about here. We're going to bring in Mark Penn, former Clinton advisor and Stagwell CEO. Mark, good morning to you. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning.
So let's take a look at the big picture here. The Cook Political Report for the 2026 midterms, looking at the House. According to that analysis, you got 17 toss-up seats right now, 12 of which are currently held by Republicans. So Democrats are feeling confident right now. They feel like they got some wind in their sails after wins in places like Virginia, New Jersey, New York City, even that Miami mayoral race. Should they be feeling so confident about a year away from those elections?
Well, I wouldn't have any confidence whatsoever on either side. I think it's a pretty moody electorate at the moment. You know, despite the fact that there are all these good economic numbers, they don't yet see the economy as good. Healthcare is coming up as an issue. Inflation remains the top issue in the economy. I think the public hasn't settled on where they're going to come out on these midterms. I think that the president started really to lay out the case that the administration did a better job than a lot of the voters think in the first year. And I think a lot of that will be proven out with the economic numbers. If they continue to come out like they have in the last couple of weeks, then I think you could see a real turnaround in the mood of the country by next summer. And I think that's the critical time at which this election will really be decided.
There's an op-ed in The Hill over the weekend talking about what the dilemma is for the Democrats, and it says the dilemma is Democrats themselves. That's the headline. It says in part, quote, several questions arise for the Democrats as they gaze into the mirror. Who are we? How will we deal with the coming civil war with the far left if we pretend to be more centrist? And how many more misappropriated money shoes are still to drop? Mark, I assume that last reference there has to do with the widespread Somali fraud in Minnesota. There's a lot of public interest in that scandal right now. Depending on how much bigger it gets, should warning lights be going off for Democrats if they don't take that scandal seriously?
Oh, I do think that scandal has real legs. I mean, you see that in the 100 million views of someone no one really knew until they did the legwork there. And the whole thing looks kind of shocking. And it's interesting. I looked yesterday, and except for one New York Times story, most of the major mainstream media, outside of Fox News and New York Post, hadn't covered it at all. So I think this issue definitely has legs. It ultimately goes to Congress and the Democrats, and we'll see where it goes. But I think it's the first thing that Republicans have really fastened onto in the last 6 months that could have some real legs over the next few months.
And take a look at this Quinnipiac poll. When it comes to the approval rating for congressional Democrats, I mean, it is in the toilet right now. 73% of Americans disapproving of the job of House Democrats in Congress, or congressional Democrats, excuse me. Mark, obviously the approval number isn't that much higher for Republicans, but an 18% approval rating, that is pretty low.
Well, they disapprove really of the president, the Republicans, and the Democrats. They disapprove of the Democrats more, but when you're in and the public's in a bad mood, you really have to do some work here, in these midterms. And the Republicans, the Democrats, you're right, have no leader. They try to pick up healthcare as an issue. They've had some success with that. I think the president is working pretty hard to counter, that as an issue. But, it's not like Pelosi says that this is not over by any means. I think this is a race that's just beginning, starting right after the new year.
Yep. And November is certainly going to be here before we know it. Mark Penn, Happy New Year to you. Great to see you, and thanks for joining us today.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.